The Tom Herman era has begun in Austin. We'll evaluate the football team through the first 2 games of the season and preview their upcoming matchup this weekend with the number 4 ranked team in the country. All this and many news across the 40 acres. This is College Press Box. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to College Press Box and to our very first show of the fall 2017 semester. I'm your host, Nick Kucholtz. We're happy to have you with us. And hopefully tonight we start off the new semester on a higher note than how the Texas football team started off their 2017 season. On September 2nd, just 2 Saturdays ago, Tom Herman and the brand new coaching staff kicked off their first campaign in Austin, but were embarrassed on their own turf as the unranked Maryland Terrapins came into DKR and took down the Horns 51-41, spoiling Herman's debut. But lucky for Texas, they had San Jose State come to town this past weekend, and the Burnt Orange picked up their first win of the season in dominating fashion when they clashed with the Spartans on Saturday afternoon. Let's head down to DKR for the highlights. Sam Ehlinger, the true freshman, makes his collegiate debut, but it's running back Chris Warren, the big fella, who finds the end zone here on the 41-yard score, the 230-pounder with his first touchdown of the 2017 season. On the other side of the football, the Texas defense stuffed San Jose State, getting Sam Ehlinger and the offense back on the field. Here, Ehlinger shows his running ability, rolls right, splits through the Spartan defense, and picks up the first down, keeping the Texas drive alive. Later in the game, Ehlinger connects with redshirt freshman receiver Reggie Hemphill-Maps for a 23-yard gain, setting up first and goal for the Longhorns offense. Big play by Hemphill-Maps, where Chris Warren will eventually push his way through, scoring his second touchdown of the day on the 9-yard score, keeping his feet and finding the end zone. With just minutes left in the game, Sam Ehlinger tosses his first touchdown pass of his collegiate career on this 1-yard shuffle pass to Armonte Foreman, the senior's second straight game with a touchdown catch. Texas bounces back from the Maryland loss with a 56-0 win. TSTV's very own Steve Helwick was at DKR on Saturday and has more on the first Texas victory of the season.
Losing Tom Herman's Texas debut in a disappointing manner, the Texas Longhorns bounced back in the most authoritative manner possible, defeating the San Jose State Spartans 56-0. Stepping in for the injured Shane Buechele was true freshman quarterback Sam Ehlinger, who made his collegiate debut and led the Longhorns to a convincing victory.
I think Sam played good. I mean, as for that being his first collegiate start, that was good. I thought he was very poised in the pocket. Took no sacks, so he got himself out of some trouble. So when he did hang on to the ball too long, at least he made up for it by scrambling around and either throwing it away or scrambling for some positive yardage.
In Ehlinger's opening act, he threw for 222 yards, including 1 touchdown pass to Armonte Foreman.
There was a little nerve, but after the first couple drives, it wore off and I was able to play football. I don't think there's really an expectation that I could hold. It's such a surreal moment for me. Being at the games growing up, literally growing up, maturing in that stadium, literally from when I could walk to now, it was a great feeling.
Butterflies, get them out the way, that happens because we all go through it, especially at the quarterback position. It's really tough. And so just very proud that he took a step forward to the challenge and actually do what he's supposed to do.
The running game did not fare well against the Maryland Terrapins, but the Longhorns revived their rushing attack on Saturday, finishing with 406 yards on the ground.
Yeah, we need to run the ball. We've got an above-average offensive line. We've got good tailbacks, and that's who we are. That's what we believe in. In games like this, you got to be able to impose your will and run the football and take some pressure off that quarterback, and I think our offensive line and backs did a marvelous job of that.
Next week will be no breeze for the Longhorns, who have to travel to the Coliseum to face the USC Trojans.
No, we got to do it again. I mean, we got a real one this week.
From Darrell K. Royal Texas Memorial Stadium, I'm Steve Helwick, College Press Box.
And joining me now here in the studio is Mr. Helwick himself. Good to have you, Steve.
Thank you, Dick.
Right away, I got to ask you, The Texas performance on Saturday. Now, obviously, San Jose State is not the strongest of opponents, but what did you see from the Longhorns this past week that you didn't see when they played Maryland in the season opener?
They showed a lot more versatility on offense. They opened up their running game. We saw Chris Warren coming off an injury-riddled season. He had 166 yards. Then Kyle Porter was added to that. Sam Ellinger, Gerard Hurd, everyone was running the football for the Longhorns. And then the San Jose State defense was on their toes. They didn't know if a run or pass was coming next. And that was a lot more versatile on offense than they showed against Maryland. And then on the defensive side of the ball, they gave up 51 points and then followed it up with 0 points. Anytime you post a shutout in college football, that takes a lot of poise. And San Jose State only looked like they could score on one possession, and Texas stopped them within the 10-yard line. So Texas showed improvements on offense and defense, which will be major factors going into Week 3.
I want to drift from this past week's win to this coming weekend's game. The Texas Longhorns head to Los Angeles, California, where they will meet quarterback Sam Darnold and the number 4 ranked USC Trojans at the Coliseum. This is the first matchup between these two teams since the Rose Bowl game on January 4th, 2006, where Texas fans remember well. Quarterback Vince Young led the Horns to their 4th national championship in school history in a thrilling 41-38 victory. Steve, a lot can change in over a decade, and it has. USC is favored big in this matchup. What chance, if any, do you give Texas to come out of the Coliseum on Saturday night with an upset victory?
Honestly, Nick, I'd have to say slim to none. We saw a number 14 Stanford team enter the Coliseum this past Saturday. That game was supposed to be close. Bryce Love leading that Stanford offense. The USC defense just crushed them in the second half. Stanford only did not score in the third quarter. They had to wait till the fourth quarter, and then USC really pulled ahead. Sam Darnold, he's a Heisman frontrunner for a reason. Completed 21 of 26 passes, over 300 yards and 4 touchdowns. What answer does the same Texas team that gave up 51 points to Maryland have for Darnold? I just don't see any realistic option. I think Texas is probably going to give up over 40, 50 points maybe, and USC is going to win big time at home on Week 3.
Well, we're just 5 days away from the game. We'll see if the Horns can keep up with USC. Steve, final question before I let you go. Another new coach at Texas, same expectations for the UT fan base. Do you think Tom Herman's the guy long-term to turn this program around? And if so, how quickly do you think he can pull that off?
He should be, but it will not be this season. The Big 12 has shown a lot of improvement from last year. We saw that Saturday. Oklahoma went into Columbus, defeated Ohio State badly. We have an improved Oklahoma State team led by Mason Rudolph. TCU showed up against Arkansas and won convincingly. And then Kansas State's always underrated, strong defense, and their offense looks better than ever. This is a strong Big 12, and Texas just doesn't belong in among those front runners right now. I see Texas probably finishing 7-6, which would be improvement. That'd be their first bowl season since 2014, their first winning season since Mac Brown in 2013. So if Texas could reach that 7-6 mark, you can already see Tom Herman turning things around in Austin. And with Shane Buechele and Sam Ellinger, 2 young quarterbacks, and he has time to develop those under his tenure here, Texas could be in for future success in the long haul if they continue recruiting well and these quarterbacks lead them down the road.
Always a pleasure to have Mr. Helwick in the studio. Wonderful story this past weekend, and thanks for coming on tonight.
Thank you, Nick.
When we return, I'll be joined by Bailey Abramowitz at the desk. We'll have the updates from the other sports teams here on campus. Stay with us. Welcome back to the College Press Box. I'm joined by Bailey Abramowitz here at the desk. Bailey, how are you tonight?
I'm great. How are you?
Good. I'm excited for the football game come Saturday, but a handful of other sports teams other than football here on campus have started their new season as well. One of these teams is the Texas women's soccer program. After defeating Northeastern 3-2 in overtime yesterday afternoon, Texas moved to 7-0 for the first time in program history. Sydney Billups' OT goal capped off the victory for the Burnt Orange, and after only 7 games on the young season, the Horns are just 1 win away from matching their total wins from all of last year. Texas is back in action this Friday, where they'll face UT Rio Grande Valley at 7 o'clock.
Texas volleyball falls to number 5 after a 3-1 loss to number 1 Minnesota for their second loss this season. Lexi Sun led the Longhorns with 19 kills and 13 digs for a career high and a second career double-double. The Longhorns and the Golden Gophers were tied with 61 kills, but Texas had been outblocked 12-9 for the first time this season. The Longhorns will be playing in College Station this weekend against A&M, hoping to leave victorious and begin another winning streak.
Bailey, I know Texas has already lost twice on the young season to an undefeated Florida, and as you mentioned, the #1 ranked team, Minnesota Golden Gophers. But both of those losses were to two very good teams. If you're a Texas volleyball fan, is it too early to be nervous, or surely these losses, you think, with these good teams that they have faced, is justifiable enough to not panic just too early?
While Texas did have 2 rough losses, they should be pretty confident going into their next games. Every other game that they've played this season, they've consistently kept a lead, and their most difficult teams will be Kansas, undefeated, Iowa State, and Texas Tech, but they do have a few more weeks to work on their overall performance before they have to face them.
As we know, last year the Texas volleyball team made the national championship, but lost to the Stanford Cardinal. How far this season do you think this team is capable of going?
At this time last year, Longhorns had also already lost 2 games, so I think that they definitely have a great chance, but we'll have to wait until they start playing other Big 12 teams to see how far they can really make it this year.
Head coach Jarrett Elliott looking to win his 2nd national championship here at Texas. Bailey, thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
When we return from the break, Katerina, Biancardi, and Luke Hendry will have all the sports news beyond the 40 acres in our magnificent segment, Unhooked. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to College Press Box's Unhooked. I'm Katerina Biancardi alongside Luke Hendry, and we're recapping sports past the 40 acres.
Kat, September always brings greatness for sports, college football continuing, season openers for the NFL, and you can't underestimate what Rafael Nadal did this weekend in the U.S. Open. But we'll start off with some college football.
College football indeed. Now, a potential New Year's Eve college football playoff matchup went down in Columbus. The Sooners seeking revenge against the Buckeyes. Let's head to Columbus. Now, Lincoln Riley's first game in the Horseshoe as head coach. 3rd quarter, JT Barrett hands off to J.K. Dobbins for the 6-yard touchdown run. Now, still in the 3rd quarter, OU ball, Baker Mayfield finds Dimitri Flowers running in for the touchdown. OU ties the game 10-10, on fire in that offense. Now, OU ball again. Baker Mayfield looks to connect with Lee Morris, and he does for that touchdown. OU takes the lead 17-13. Baker Mayfield is on fire, and Urban Meyer looks a little uneasy. Now, Buckeye ball, JT Barrett looks for the man, but it is intercepted by Pharrell Motley. OU defeats the Buckeyes 31-16, gaining a huge Big 12 win.
Kat, we head to South Bend, 24th ranked Notre Dame Irish taking on the Georgia Bulldogs. Jake Fromm finds Jerry Godwin back of the end zone, a one-armed snag. This one was reviewed, ruled a touchdown. Georgia hanging in there, tying it at 10. Later in the 3rd, 16-10 Irish. It was Godwin's magnificent catch, followed by DeAndre Swift. Appropriate last name, right? 41-yard gain to set up Sony Michael, 6-yard scamper, touchdown, Georgia. We head to the 4th. Notre Dame leads 19-17. Fromm once again finding the true freshman, going up and getting it, Javon Wims. It would lead to a Georgia field goal from 30 yards, 2019. Just under 2 minutes remaining. Brendan Winbush sacked, coughs it up. Georgia recovers. Kirby Smart liked what he sees as the 15th ranked Georgia Bulldogs go on to win over the Irish 20-19.
Now, Luke, that was a fantastic top 25 matchup, but now we're going to go past college football and recap our best top 5 plays of the weekend.
In the 5 spot, Kat, we turn to the U.S. Open men's singles final that I mentioned earlier in the show. Rafael Nadal taking on Kevin Anderson, a breakpoint opportunity, showing some agility. The 31-year-old drop shot volley to win the game, win the set. The Spaniard showing some emotion as he went en route to win in straight sets, his 16th major title.
At the number 4 spot, our reigning Heisman winner, Lamar Jackson, is right there. Now, folks, he's going to escape the pocket to find Jalen Smith for the touchdown. There he goes, right to run it nicely in. Jackson finished the game with 525 total yards.
And in number 3, USC Trojans taking on their rival, the Stanford Cardinals. Sam Darnold escaping some pressure, makes a decent throw, even better catch. Deontay Bryant laying out for the touchdown. Superman-esque for Bryant. Big win for USC.
Still in that college football train, Purdue versus Ohio University. Quarterback David Blau taking a snap. We have some reverse flea flicker action. Blau finds his tight end Cole Herman for that touchdown. And guys, we're going to go back and take a look at this because trick plays like this are special in college football when they're executed so well. There it goes again, and then Blau finds Herman, perfectly executed. Boilermakers defeat the Bobcats 44-21. This trick play earns a spot at number 2 on Unhooked.
And for the top play of the week, we turn to the MLB. Self-preservation for Hector Rondon. Don't worry, we will slow down that catch for you. Ladies and gentlemen, that ball is coming off the bat at nearly 103 miles an hour. What a snag for Rondon. Top play of the week. Cubbies went on to lose, but nonetheless, incredible catch by Hector Rondon there.
Fantastic plays that we had. Now, Luke, we're going to take it back to college football. This weekend features top conference matchups, but more or less the outcomes are pretty predictable. So let's spice it up with some bold predictions. Luke?
Kat, I'm going to turn to an historic Texas rivalry, TCU and SMU. The Iron Skillet battle is being played in Fort Worth, but the Mustangs are coming off 2 impressive showings. Chad Morris, the head coach, led the Ponies over Stephen F. Austin, 58-14. And then last week, defeated North Texas 54-32. SMU clearly showing some strength on the offensive side. If they can bring some energy to the defense, contain Kenny Hill, I think the Iron Skillet could be going back to Dallas for the first time since, get this, 2011.
Wow, some fun North Texas football going on there. But guys, I'm taking my bold prediction back to the 40 acres. And Luke, I'm saying Texas brings 0-5 luck in LA this weekend and surprises the college football team with a victory against USC. You never know what goes on. Herman's, getting the team hyped up. So I'm excited. What do you think?
That's a bold prediction there, Kat. Texas, there's a lot of emotion in it. Everybody remembers what happened in 2005. It'd be great for sports. If Texas gets the win, I don't think they're ready to defeat the number 4 ranked team in the nation, but you never know. It's going to be a great game for sure.
And that's why it's a bold prediction, folks. Now, up next, we'll hear what Longhorns fans think of the start of the Herman era. Stay tuned.
For the final time tonight, we welcome you back to College Press Box. Now, before Texas's 56-0 shutout of San Jose State, TSTV's Hannah Nevlud went around the UT campus checking on the football fan base and saw their feelings about the opening week loss to Maryland. Let's see what some of these fans had to say.
Hi, I'm Hannah Nevlud with College Press Box, and we're here on campus today to ask people what they think about UT football 2017. Okay, if you could describe UT football in one word, what would it be? Sad.
Unstoppable. If I had to describe it in one word, I would say opportunity.
Coaster. Roller coaster.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to say.
Well.
I would say potential. Yeah.
That's good. I was going negative. That's a good way to put it.
It was close. It was close.
The same.
Unchanged.
Disappointing.
Young. No. Oh, I bet against UT and made money.
Wow, that's you're a UT student, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, do y'all know what the score was of the game on Saturday?
I want to say it was like 35-45. We lost by 10. 35-40.
It was like 54.
I don't really want to think about it. It just made me sad.
We left early.
Yeah.
It was bad.
I know we lost, I think by like 7 points, but I'm not too sure. It's like 50s, in the 50s, right?
So with Tom Herman as head coach this season, the UT students are about 50-50, saying we're either going to have another 5-7 season or Tom Herman is really going to turn this one around. Guess we're just going to have to see how this one rides out. For College Press Box, I'm Hannah Nevlud.
Luckily, the second game for the Horns turned out to be a little bit better than the first. We'll see how the rest of the season for Texas and their fan base pans out. Before tonight's show comes to a close, let's take a look at this week's schedule in Longhorn sports. The women's golf team started their season today at the Dick McGuire Invitational in Albuquerque, New Mexico. That will continue through tomorrow. And on Wednesday, the women's volleyball team meets the Texas A&M Aggies at 7 o'clock. Fast forward to Thursday, both men's and women's cross-country teams are in action at Old Settlers Park in Round Rock. And on Friday, women's soccer again meets UT Rio Grande Valley. That game is on Longhorn Network at 7. Throughout the weekend, Friday all the way through Saturday, men's golf and men's tennis are in action to start their new seasons. And of course, football kicking off against USC at 7:30. That game is on Fox. That wraps up our opening show of the new semester. In addition to College Press Box, be sure to check out our sister show, College Crossfire, every Wednesday night at 9 o'clock, where our phenomenal new host, Mark Skold Jr., and 3 panelists every week debate all of the newest updates in the sports world. For all of us here in the studio, Master Control Room, and on behalf of our 2 new wonderful executive producers, Alana Vieira and Eric Goodman, always a pleasure to have you spend your Monday night with us. I'm your host, Nick Kucholtz. Enjoy the rest of your evening. We'll see you next week.